there's a lot of folks that don't know a whole lot about a Suwannee bass because, well, for one, they're only in a few river systems down in the panhandle of Florida, the Wississa, Wakulla, over in the Suwannee, and in the Withlacoochee. Yes, it's a real place, and a bunch of other little small flows down in those areas, but they're isolated only to that panhandle region of Florida, and they don't get very large. I mean, the world records are like 3 pounds 2 ounces, but man, they are fun to catch. They're a mean little old fish. They pull hard, and they're one of the most beautiful of the black bass species to me. Now, don't tell the shoal bass I said that. This first one that I catch, I mean, you know, he's not a giant Suwannee by any stretch, but he's the first one I ever caught on top water.
The frog! They are a gorgeous fish. He ate it up.
Right there after I caught my fish, Ethan ended up catching his first Suwannee ever, which was pretty awesome. I mean, anytime you have a brand new species and you catch the first one of, it's pretty special. But to top it off, he had a pretty good sized Suwannee, so you know that was a really good fish to start off with. One of the cooler catches of the day, we got blown into a patch of grass. The wind was whipping on us pretty good, and Ethan looked down and saw a bass sitting on the sand. Well, he reached back, swapped his rods out because he had his frog rod in his hand. So he grabbed his trick worm rod, put a cast on the fish. The first cast got blown off of him, so he quickly reeled in, put another cast on him. But he watched that fish eat and set the hook. So it was a sight fish, you know, on the sand. It was a pretty neat thing. He enjoyed it, and of course, it was one of his first fish on camera, so he was just beside himself.
There he is. I watched him eat it too. It's a big fish. Well, he's not big, but he's decent. I got him on video. I got this joker on video. Oh yeah!
We paddled up to a deep hole, and that I know's got some limestone rocks down in it. He caught a Suwannee off one of those, and while I was getting the camera out to take his picture, I noticed my rod bowed down, and dadgummit if one hadn't eaten mine while it was just hanging off the side of the boat.
There you go.
Double. No, that's funny.
I threw the frog up in the grass and started pulling it back, and you can see in the video a little bit, you'll see the wake followed it. The wake followed it for probably a good 10 feet or so before I slowed it down, which is generally what I do to catch a bowfin. Well, as I slowed it down, fish hit when it run underneath the boat. I realized it was not a bowfin, so that was a good surprise.